Hi everyone, I was going to surprise you all my followers by telling you that it's official, that now when you sell real estate in Argentina as a foreigner, you don't have to pay any more taxes for selling that property, rural land or farm. But President Javier Milei, surprised me first because before I was able to announce this measure where Milei annulled the real estate tax for foreigners selling real estate in Argentina, Milei officially shut down Argentina's tax agency, Argentina's revenue office called AFIP. Yes, he closed down Argentina's IRS, Argentina's Internal Revenue Service. There will be, of course, a new agency after this, but it won't have the power that AFIP had. My final point is that all this will strengthen Argentina's economy and it will skyrocket its real estate in consequence. In my personal opinion, I think that there's two Argentines that seriously deserve the Nobel Prize in Economy. One is an Argentine professor who teaches at MIT, and he's been named among the 10 best economists on earth. But another great candidate to me is, of course, no one else than President Javier Milei. They should both be clear candidates for the Nobel Prize in Economy, the two people that I'm mentioning. I actually assume they both are even working together to make Argentina great again. Milei is most probably using this MIT professor as a head economic advisor, but this is only my assumption, and I'm simply assuming all this because this professor's only brother is a vice president to Argentina's central bank, the same central bank that Milei wants to shut down someday very soon. And that vice president to the central bank is a very important heavyweight in Wall Street. In a few words, these two siblings, these two brothers are geniuses. Not for nothing, one is a professor at MIT, has been suggested as a candidate for the Nobel Prize in Economy, and the other sibling is a VP of Argentina's central bank. Anyway, first conclusion, if Milei ever ends up nominated for the Nobel Prize, which I believe it will happen, everyone should give some credit to these two genius brothers who are masterminds in helping the lion, Milei, conquer the jungle. Now back to Javier Milei, and this is why I am saying he could be suggested for a Nobel Prize, because besides shutting down every single agency that's strangling Argentina's economic growth, Milei has decided to go after Argentina's most dangerous tax, one that comes invisibly at a variable, unpredictable, and unapproved rate created by the government. That hidden tax is nothing else than the famously known inflation. Get this right, inflation is an invisible tax. The government imposes it knowingly but silently in a hidden form and transfers it to the people by diminishing the people's spending power once the currency they hold can only buy or pay for less things of the same nature. We have all been used to calling inflation, but it's theft, and Milei wants to criminalize it. Yes, you heard me well. Hear my explanation, because he wants to make it a law, and that's why I believe he should be granted a Nobel Prize. He wants to criminalize those in the government seat, who use inflation as an instrument to make the people pay for something that they do not owe. So, inflation happens for only one reason, one big reason: unscrupulous monetary emission by governments who print paper to pay off for multiple things that they transfer over to the people with a tax that no one can individualize, predict, or approve. That's exactly what inflation is. Governments actually have two options. Or they tax you by explaining what tax they're going to tax you with, and of course you can complain, but it's the law. Or number two, they silently print Argentine pesos, or in the case of the USA, American dollars, and because they insert more currency into the economy with unscrupulous monetary emission, the government makes the currency and our power to lose value. It basically devaluates. That's exactly what inflation is. The more currency circulating in the economy, the less purchasing power your currency is worth. Monetary emission is what generates inflation, and it's literally an invisible tax. Now here comes a surprise, and it's the reason I decided to make this video today. In the next days, Milei will present a law to Argentina's Congress that punishes as a crime against humanity, and it's the most aggressive of all crimes, utilizing the Argentine central bank's ability to generate monetary emission of currency to finance the country's fiscal deficit, which is how we the people end up paying for this invisible tax called inflation. Milei supports his case by explaining that any monetary emission is a fraudulent falsification of the circulating and existing supply in the hands of those Argentine holders who hold Argentine pesos at the time new emission is unscrupulously printed. So in this way, if this crime was perpetrated, those who printed Argentine pesos would go to prison once this law gets passed by Congress. And actually, these employees are the president of the central bank, as well as its directors, the president of Argentina, Milei included, the Argentine Minister of Economy, and the members of Congress who voted for the fiscal measure. Basically, Milei wants to make Argentina great again, as the country was once known in the early 1900s. And in case you didn't know this, back in the golden years of Argentina, it didn't have a central bank. So when Milei says he is going to eliminate the central bank, do you think he is not saying the truth? He just knocked unconscious Argentina's tax agency. The central bank is next. Oh, and by the way, that means Argentine real estate is going to the moon, and I'm serious with this. In case you're not aware, Milei is not exactly a politician. He's an economist with a master's in economy and taught monetary politics as a professor at several different universities in Argentina. He supports the Austrian School of Economics that advocates for a free market system with limited governmental interference. My vote, my personal vote, is he is going after the central bank, but when he wants to adopt the dollar as a healthier currency, something tells me he's doing it only because people are still not prepared for what will be next one day for Argentina once the US dollar succumbs. And this is, of course, my sole opinion. I think that what's going to happen is Bitcoin as a collateral for monetary emission. One last thing, now that I've explained all this to you, can you guess how Milei is trying to stop inflation, how he will stop it? Something that no president has ever been able to do in decades for Argentina. It's very simple. A few weeks ago, Milei woke up and decided that he was not going to allow any more Argentine currency to get printed. That's why the Argentine blue dollar, the unofficial, is going down, because all of a sudden we need more and more pesos. Same as humans are addicted to flour and sugar, there seems to be this same addiction to ongoing printing currency without limits. But Milei isn't allowing the central bank to print not one more single Argentine peso. Imagine how great it would be if the USA did the same, but forget it. Bitcoin for now is already here to stay because of what's being done in America with our dear US dollar. And in my humble opinion, most currencies sooner or later, and more sooner than later, will succumb, collapse, and fail, but time will tell. So my final conclusion is all these measures will make Argentine real estate to skyrocket. To me, it's by the time. As we say in Argentina, hasta pronto.